Hi, I'm Bass Fox. Welcome to today's short video about the anagram looper. I've heard a lot of comments online saying that the looper is useless on the anagram, that it's mainly really only used to create a loop so that you can tweak effects with both hands and find your sound. And that's somewhat true because it's a tricky looper. It's an unusual looper in the sense that it doesn't trigger on your first stomp. It triggers when you lift your foot. And they do that so that the hold function can exist. Right? Each switch has a hold function. So the middle one, which is the record one, if you hold it, it exits the looper, right? And in fact, when you're outside of the looper, that's the same switch that gets you in there when you hold it, right? And then the left one, when you hold it, it clears the pattern or the loop. And the right one is an undo, and if you hold it, it's a redo, right? So in order to have these functions, you can't have it trigger on your first stomp, because how would it know if you're holding it longer, right? And this is a mistake by Darkglass, in my opinion. They should use a double tap for these secondary functions rather than a hold, as many other loopers do. But in the meantime, while they're finding that out and eventually will fix it so that everybody will be happy with the looper, I've been able to actually use it, and I think it's not that difficult to develop the skill you need. The way to do it is to simply time yourself so that your up foot is your one, right? So that means you tap the looper a little bit before one, like at the end of the previous bar, and then lift it on precisely on the one. That's easier said than done. It does take a little practice, and it's also easier on the initial loop, and it's harder once you're already playing to time that foot in there and lift it right on the one again so that your loop is perfect, right? It does take some practice, and I've taken it as sort of a challenge. You know, I am a drummer as well, so I do have a little bit of foot dexterity, a little bit of rhythmic independence, so that helps. But the point of this video is to say that no, the anagram looper is not completely useless. It's just a little bit difficult to use. But once you develop the required skill to use it, then it's very useful. It's very cool to have a looper integrated into this box that's an everything box, right? It's your amp, it's your headphone amp, it's your DI box, effects processor, it's your preamp, it's everything that you could possibly need. So it's nice, it's a tuner. What I love about it is that basically I can do an entire tour if I have to or want to with only this thing and not carrying anything else but the bass and the anagram. I don't even need to power it externally because I have this little battery here. I even have a smaller one that also works. This one is a little overkill, but anyway, I digress. Let's show you, I just did in the intro, right, a little bit, but let's show you the technique. One thing that I like to do is create sort of just a rhythmic loop to start with, to give myself a kind of a metronome, and it does make things a little bit more interesting too once you start playing the actual bass. So that's like something like just strumming, like, right? Now I'm going to time myself to hit that switch right before the one and then lift it on the one, right? And you can't do it too early, right? Because if you do it too early, it'll interpret that as a hold and it'll exit the looper. So yeah, it's tricky. I'm not saying it's not tricky. I'm not saying I don't wish Darkglass would change it, and I hope they do. But in the meantime, you can use it and you can have fun with it. And in more than just as a preset design aid, right? Okay, so let's do this. There you go. That wasn't so hard, right? Seems perfectly timed. Now it doesn't matter when you can actually hit overdub anytime you want, because the loop is already set and it's already perfect. So you can just hit it whenever you want and then start playing freely. So we can do it here. See? It feels like pretty groovy, feels like a pretty solid loop, and then I can play over it. Right, cool. So now I can actually hold to clear it, and I can try a different one. Let's try one without that initial rhythmic loop, just to see that it can be done, right? So I'm gonna do something like that. So again, I'm gonna step and then start playing as I lift my foot. So see, I missed that one. See, I made that last note too long because I actually did hit it on the one. So that, again, like I said, the tricky one is the out stomp, right? So let's try that again. And yeah, I need to practice. I've only been practicing this for a day, actually. So yeah, probably should be doing this at least a week consistently, a few times a day, to get used to it. And it's going to be difficult depending on what content too, depending what kind of loop, what kind of playing you're doing. Having that split mind, that part of your brain, like working on at which moment you're going to stomp and lift, you know, but like everything, once you practice it enough, it's second nature. So that's right. So what I did there is I didn't play the last note so I could focus on stomping. That's a choice too. And it didn't make the line any worse. In fact, it's a welcome little silence there at the end. So now again, I can hit overdub anytime I want to. Now let's work out what my second line. That's a good one. Now play over it. I can even do some rhythm if I want to. Not too bad. Works. Right? So that's it. This is a shorty today, just kind of a proof of concept, just try to make a point that you can indeed use the anagram looper musically. You can use it in a concert setting if you practice it enough and get used to it. Now, is that worth it? Especially considering they're probably gonna revision that at some point. Maybe we should just wait, right? Is it maybe easier to just use an external looper? Possibly. There was something else I wanted to say. I'm trying to think of it. Give me a second. Oh, I remembered what I wanted to say. Darkglass, this is a special request. I think I've made it in the Facebook Darkglass group. Please allow MIDI foot switch control over the looper, as well as changing the behavior. I really like to use my Darkglass on a desk with me, because I like tweaking things without having to bend over all the way to the ground. But I do like to use the looper, obviously, with a foot switch. So I have a foot switch that I connect to it, but for some reason it doesn't control the looper. So please let us configure a foot switch, MIDI foot switch, to control the looper. That's all. So that's it. Thank you for watching. If you like this kind of content, remember this is a very young channel and it needs your support. So just hit like, hit subscribe. That helps a lot. Comment below if you have anything to say about this. If you agree with me, if you think it's definitely not useful at all, you can say that too, and we can start a discussion down there. All of that helps the channel. So thanks again. I've been Bass Fox, and feel the vibration.